All right, everyone. It's time for another edition of my Forward Progress Show. I'm Marshall Atkinson, and today I'm so excited to have my co-conspirator of awesomeness and fun with the Adventures in Apparel Decorating show that I do for jerseys, Austin Albany with Sublime Media Group. How you doing today, Austin?
Doing well, Marshall. How are you?
I'm doing great, and we've worked together for 2 years now, I guess, or so, for jerseys on this show, which is Adventures in Apparel Decorating. And if you haven't seen that, go to the Jerseys channel and check it out. It's lots of fun. And let me tell you, Austin is the one that makes me look like I know what the hell I'm doing. He is such a master at it. And I love his direction. He's really good. So thank you for making me look way better than I actually am.
It is my pleasure. Yeah, that's been a really fun series to work on. I've enjoyed every trip, every episode. I've learned a ton about the apparel decorating industry, which with what I do for a living, you kind of become like a mini expert in a lot of different, industries and service areas and everything. And so it's been really cool to see. I mean, when we travel in these print shops, I think that a lot of the types of people that work in print are very similar to the same type of people that work in video and at agencies and things like that. It's a lot of creative minds and people that like to have fun. So it's been really, really cool to learn a whole lot about what you guys do.
Yeah. And so before we get into some of the topics I wanted to cover today, can you let everybody know what Sublime's all about and what you do?
Yeah, we are a content marketing agency. So I'm a firm believer in, the day and age of just a business having one video they run as a commercial all year. It's over. And we churn a lot of consistent, interesting content monthly for, hundreds of clients. And we also have a web department. We do websites, social media marketing, email marketing, digital advertising, and we even do traditional buys still. I still do media buys for television, radio, just depending on what the client's needs are. So we really do it all, and we do it all in-house too. I've got a really creative, talented team. We have a lot of fun, and yeah, that's about it.
And I was checking out your website the other day, and what's the deal with the puppets, man? So, you do puppets too. You have puppets.
We do have puppets. So long story short, David Jose, who works with us, he's our project manager. He's one of our project managers and also an account manager. He interned at Jim Henson out of college and loves puppetry. He just always has. And one of his dreams was to do puppets for television. And so we met working at a local television station. I guess about 15 years ago. I started in high school. And at one point, we got to do a puppet character for a local furniture store. And we had a really famous puppet builder create it and everything. And he got to puppeteer it, which he'd always wanted to do. And we met a guy locally that has gone on to have an incredible career, and he still lives in our area and works with us a lot. But he has built puppets for McDonald's and KFC and Baby Einstein. He's a puppet builder. So we basically have these clients call us and say, we want a commercial made from scratch. We're in Orlando. We want this dog character to, do this skit, and it's for like an HVAC company, say. And so we will build the character from scratch and then like the spots, and shooting with puppets, it's a lot different than shooting with people. So it's fun. It's something I never thought I would be into, but it's been a nice little revenue stream for us, and we're kind of known for it. Like when I hear that James, our puppet builder, will go somewhere and meet someone from the Muppets, and they've seen our commercials on YouTube and stuff, because that's a really small industry. Like that's pretty cool stuff to us. So
that's cool. That's great. All right. So if you're watching right now, please say hello. We'd love to know who you are and where you're watching from. I see Mike's here, and how you doing? Nice to see you. So please say hello, and don't forget, we want your questions. So we're going to go over lots of really techie stuff, and Austin's got lots of really great ideas about this content creation, using video, websites, all kind of stuff. So if you want to know about this stuff, this is the guy to talk to. He's not going to be able to know your question right? You're going to have to write it in. So please write it. And that way we know what the question is so we can answer it. Okay. And Brian says, hey, from Missouri. So, hey, Brian, thanks for being here. So you ready to get into it?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Do you remember what the first topic was?
Was it YouTube?
Nope. It was video content and marketing ideas. So I think right now we're in a very interesting age where people are trying to figure out how to market their company, what to do, and you create this stuff for a living for companies, right? Yeah. So you're the perfect person to ask about what's working. How do I get it down to a minute to post on Instagram, or what do I do? You know, if like we've been hanging out together for 2 years, and I've heard all these stories about you helping the plastic surgeon, or you doing the stuff for the university or whatever. Some of that stuff, I think it would be amazing to share. But right now, just how can people understand how to use video better, and also how to create content that people want to come to you to see, which drives traffic to your online story or webpage?
Well, we've seen a shift in the last few years from like storytelling marketing to more of an authentic marketing. People want to like take a peek behind the curtain and learn from the expert. And I think a lot of times we find where business owners are afraid to do that. They're like, if I tell all my secrets, then my competition is going to start doing what I'm doing, or somebody else might think they can do it at home. But what we found is like, don't be afraid to put that stuff out there. You know, if you're really good at fixing brakes on a car, go shoot videos about fixing brakes on a car. And then people might watch it. And yeah, I might be able to figure out how to do that at home, but I don't want to mess with it. I just think, wow, that guy really knows what he's talking about. And so then I'll go to him when I need brakes fixed on my car. So the main thing is just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. We find a lot with people where they're, you know, just, oh, nobody wants to hear what I have to say, or I'm not good on camera. Like, you have to get over that, and you'll get better, as Marshall's learning, like too, with the Adventures in Apparel Decorating. The more you do it,
yeah,
the better you are, you know, and like, you just have to keep practicing and putting yourself out.
Here's my favorite direction from Austin. Hey, that was really good, Marshall, but I think you can do it better. What if you do it this way?
Yeah. I always try to be nice, you know.
That's code for God. Why are you so dumb?
It's, I mean, having a conversation is a lot different from, you know, talking to a lens, right? And you might think you're very animated, but really when you're talking, you're more like this, and it feels like you're being that way. But sometimes a little hand movement or a gesture with your head, just little, you know, I think too, like when you put something out, like watch it, you know, and then watch it compared to maybe a competitor you like, and say, what are they doing that I'm not? And how can I change up my videos to be a little bit more like that? And it doesn't have to even be in the same industry. If you find something you like a plastic surgeon who's putting out really killer video content, and maybe they have a funny Q&A series where they ask people on their Facebook wall to ask them questions, right? Some of them might be about plastic surgery, but some of them might be funny stuff like boxers or briefs, right? Those videos are entertaining. People will watch them and they'll want to learn more about you. And over time, they follow you just like, I mean, this has been the shift from reality television to this. It's now this online world where people share every second of every minute. Well, I think for businesses, you know, don't get hung up on necessarily exactly what you're putting out. Don't make it so polished that you spent 3 weeks on it when you could have just posted it day one and then moved on to some other things. Because I think so much of what we do now is a trial and error thing. You want to see what got the best engagement, what got the best shares, all that, and then do more of that. You know what I mean? So that's what we try to do.
Yeah, I think if anybody's watching that wants to say, well, I don't know if I can do it, I'm proof positive that you can, because I don't know what I'm doing. We just go. We just hit the launch button, and the ship's taking off the launch pad, and here we go. And, you know, me no talk good, right? Let's just do it over. We'll do it the second time. It's okay.
Well, I think back to the ideas, I like to just, I consume a lot of media, be it movies, television. I browse around Instagram a lot, or even Facebook, just to try to see what people are putting out there. And I like to follow my competitors. I like to see what people are doing. I like to follow bigger agencies and think like, oh, that was obviously they, you know, I could tell that's a $200,000 budget probably, or $1 million budget they spent on that video. But it's like, well, what could we do that's still similar, but maybe way more cost effective, you know? And just don't be afraid to like, don't get overwhelmed by it, but I like to try to research and expose myself just to as many different types of content as possible to see what people are doing, and then pay attention to like those comments and likes. If that's getting a lot of response, well, that's probably why they keep doing things like that, right? So
right.
Research is huge, but research is really just watching videos,
And if I'm just starting, do I need expensive stuff? I could just use my phone, right?
For sure. I mean, so many people, that's one of the things they'll say, well, I don't have a camera, I don't have lights. I mean, just start recording, stand in front of a window where the light's hitting your face and do a selfie, and if you're going on if you want it for your story on Instagram, just make it vertical. If you want it like more wall post size or whatever, go horizontal with it. I mean, they're just, I would look up YouTube tutorials on how to make inexpensive videos. Like anything you want to do in the world is on YouTube right now. Like imagine, I just think back to like high school when, I didn't have a computer in my house till I was 16. And it's just the fact that now literally anything I would want to have done at that age, I can get on YouTube and watch somebody showing you exactly how to do it. I mean, that's insane. We have this huge knowledge base. And, if you're saying, well, I don't know how to do it, well, that's your own fault because all of those resources are right there for you, So whatever you want to do, there's some goober on YouTube, collecting ad revenue off of it. But at the same time, he's giving you the keys to the castle,
Hey, speaking of a goober on YouTube, we have a video from you.
Yeah, we do.
Should we watch it?
Sure, being that goober. I mean, when we transition to the YouTube segment, we can. So
yeah, well, the YouTube segment's next. So why don't we use that as a segue?
Yep.
So let me pop that over.
I think it's going to be a surprise too that I am actually bald. So wearing a hat. So
all right. So can you see this? Because it's full screen on me.
I can
all
see
right,
it.
Here we go. This is like 2 minutes, so just bear with us.
Hey, you rolling? Hey guys, it's Austin Albany, co-founder and creative director at Sublime Media Group. And today, I'm going to give you 5 tips for starting a YouTube channel. Number 1, set a YouTube video posting schedule and stick to it. A consistent content schedule is extremely important for YouTube. It's the best way to build a loyal audience, be it once a month, once a week, or every few days. Don't start skipping content release dates out of the gate. That's a bad habit to fall into. Tip number 2, your YouTube title is just as important as your tag strategy. YouTube's algorithm will pick videos to show up in search based on certain SEO factors, including your video title. I would recommend doing a keyword search on YouTube to see how similar videos are titled. Start with the keyword that you would like to rank for and don't use too many keywords in your title. A keyword finder tool like TubeBuddy can help you find the best keyword for your video. One last tip for your title is to make sure to keep the length under 70 characters. Tip number 3. Creative thumbnails can help you stand out. A best practice for creating your YouTube thumbnail is to use a shortened version of your title, maybe use some strokes around people, and make sure to have big, bold text. It's very eye-catching. You should also use bright, contrasting colors to catch the eyes of your viewers. Tip number 4, don't forget to tag your videos. Your tag strategy is very important for the success of your video. Here at Sublime Media Group, we use a plugin called vidIQ to help build awesome tag strategies that are very successful for our clients. Tip number 5, your description text is an important part of SEO for your channel. I don't know how many times I come across videos on YouTube with blank description fields. And that, my friends, is not doing those videos any favors. When writing descriptions for your YouTube videos, be sure to write like a person. Use keywords and use those keywords multiple times. Be sure to front load your text with the most important keywords and maybe add a link here or there also. YouTube is a long-term game. It can sometimes take many years to build a great audience for your channel. Stay the course because it's worth it. Thank you guys for watching this episode of Hey You Rollin', and we'll see you next time.
Whoa, I like that.
Oh, infinity.
So that was really great, Austin. And I use vidIQ. And as you know, my son Jack he's my YouTube master, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah.
We've completely redone my YouTube strategy, and we're building more YouTube content. For example, this show. And we're doing it on purpose, and we're not waiting around for permission. I'm not waiting until I learn how to do it better. We're just doing it, right? And that's the most important thing, I think, is just to do it And of course, an interview show is real easy because you don't have to write anything. I could just ask you questions and you answer, and then there's a show. And so anybody can really do that, right?
Yeah, like, I mean, even us in 2020, one of our goals, we wanted to start producing more content like directly from Sublime Media Group. We do so much for other people that at times like that always was put on the back burner. But internally, the goal we set was like, this has a deadline like everything else and we can't miss it. And you have to treat it that way. And we also launched a podcast called On the Lime. I'm going to plug it. No, that we have on like business and marketing experts to talk about what they're doing in their industry. We had a guy from a minor league baseball team on the last episode, and he talked about like what they've done during the pandemic and like some of their successful event nights. But like we've got Kirk Thatcher coming on next week who worked on Star Wars. I mean, we've had some pretty good guests on, but that's
I was on it.
Yeah, you were. Marshall was on it too. Sorry, yeah. But I mean, that's time consuming. We have 2 people who dedicate. We went weekly about 3 or 4 months ago, and it's not really a big money maker for us right now, but it's something that I believe, it's networking with people. It's also I learn from every episode. We have these people coming on that are giving us just like, extremely valuable advice and things that work for them. And so that's been great. And at the same time, it's as we build more and more of a following, maybe down the road, it's a bit of a revenue stream. Maybe we sell a sponsor on it. There's just different things you can do there. So with YouTube, you get to 1,000 subscribers and you get to whatever it is, 4,000 watch hours. You can start monetizing your channel. And I know a guy I'm friends with that makes his entire living just doing YouTube videos. So it's totally common and totally doable.
Well, we're slowly building mine up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. I pay my son a bonus of $1 for every YouTube subscriber I get. And that's part of his compensation strategy.
I like it. That's
he's doing great. He's doing awesome with it. And he's taught himself Adobe Premiere Pro, and he does all the editing. He picks the music out. He puts all the scenes together. And he's doing that for me and also for Shirt Lab. So if you've seen any of the videos that we've been doing for Shirt Lab, he's doing those. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I started editing in high school too, and doing it for going on probably 20 years now. So the earlier you can get started, the better. And just imagining the software updates that he's going to grow up with over the next 10 or 15 years if he sticks with it, like the possibilities are literally endless. But the Adobe suite changed everything. Like you have the power to make any type of content in the world you want right there for like a pretty reasonable monthly fee. So if it's something with your business that you're like, oh, I don't want to pay $40 a month or whatever, it's so worth it if you have somebody wanting to produce content for you.
Yep. And so he's going to be at Shirt Lab Dallas, and he's trying to convince me to buy a new video camera for him to use. So that's the discussion we're having. So anyway, let's go to the next topic, which is using YouTube as a sales lead generator, right? So that's the reason why I'm creating the content, is because I want to get known. I'm interviewing some different people, but they're really aimed at my market segment. Mm-hmm. So how can somebody watching right now create content for their customers so their customers will start thinking about them and they can use that as a lead magnet? What are the tips with that?
I think that depends on what your customer is, right? So say you want to be a YouTube content producer. Well, I would become an Amazon affiliate marketer, and the first thing I would do is put out, best cameras of 2020 and post it, and then put my links to Amazon off of that video and hope that it takes off, because you're going to get a percentage of every one of those sales. I mean, there are YouTube content producers that make that video every single year and just add 2021 to it or 2022 to it, and might make $8,000 a month off those Amazon links. So that's one way that YouTube can generate revenue for you. But when you're talking about just like, I want to attract my clients, well, I think that, I guess it depends on if you're regional or not. And it depends on, like with YouTube, it's more of a national or worldly platform, right? So to me, one of our clients likes to use it for that reason. He's booking clients all over the country that are flying to him now because of his YouTube channel. And what we find is that, as long as we're tagging our videos correctly, coming up with content people want to watch, and if it's about a specific topic, say it's somebody looking for a certain thing, they typically will come across it. And what we notice is as his channel builds, we're getting a ton of click-throughs for his consultation page through his YouTube description. We make sure to have that on every, a link to that on every post, and we use a bit.ly link that we can track. And then they get a report monthly on how many actual conversions they're getting from it. And, that number seems to be increasing. At the same time, one tip that I found as you're building your channel to target and build a better audience in your industry to help drive those leads, right, for sales is you can actually, through YouTube ads, you can buy just a channel. So say, Marshall, name a big brand or a competitor you feel like that's similar, that's like maybe national or.
Well, let's use Jersey since we both do stuff for them.
Exactly. So if I was to buy Jersey's channel, if I was if I felt like my audience just loved their content, well, you can buy just that channel, and you can pick where in the country you want to run those ads. So you can say, I want just people in the state of Florida that are watching the Jersey's YouTube channel to be fed this ad, as long as the channel is monetized, right? And so that's a way you could use that as a promotional tool. You could just promote your channel. You could be like, Marshall's YouTube channel, it does this, and you want to drive traffic to it for subscribers and everything. So like that's one way. Or YouTube's just a great platform for running ads because you can highly target so many different demographics. But I hope that answered your question, but there's several different ways, obviously.
Right. Okay, great. So in between, we want to say hi to some people. So Richard's here from Detroit. Ron's here from Boston. It's always a good day for Ron Goodwin. And Sean's watching from the great city of Alpharetta, Georgia. So hi, guys. Thanks for stopping in. And please, if you've got a question for Austin, please let him know. Because I'm sure he'd be happy to answer it. So let's shift gears here and let's start talking about websites. Mm-hmm. So your company creates websites. And so everybody, to me, when I start talking about websites, there's two things I always ask people. Is your website supposed to sell stuff, or is it supposed to be basically a fancy business card, mm-hmm. right? And so what we're talking about here, when we say creating websites that convert, we're not talking about a fancy business card. We're talking about it's a 24/7 salesperson that's bringing you money.
Yeah.
And so what are your favorite tips for building a website that converts to sales?
Well, I do feel like there's one more you could add to that list too, and it could also be a tool. Like we run a bank website, for instance, and so that's a tool for their customers to get to their accounts and right, okay. all that. Like so, adding one more to that list, I thought about when you said that, but. Half of our clients, it is a fancy business card. They're basically, we're wanting to try to build an extremely fast loading, optimized website that sizes really nicely for any screen. It's easy to find information on. And the main goal with it is like, there's a lot of different strategies to like where you place text and everything. But at the end of the day, we want to format the back end to where it scores really well, like on Google and things like that, to where they're showing up in search, which organic search, especially for certain industries these days, is extremely difficult to increase. But we recently just redid our website, and I spent about a month on SEO for it. And I'm glad to say we're ranking like we ranked in the thousands in video production, and now we're like in the top 80 nationally, which is a huge jump for us. And there's a lot of competition in that field and everything. And it was all based on just the strategy we use for content. And also, I think it gets more difficult when you're trying to market multiple things on your website. Like if you're just one thing, if you're, a car accident attorney, even though it's a highly competitive field, it's still easy to set up, the SEO for that for search, as opposed to somebody who has 15 services they're trying to
or a t-shirt printer.
Exactly. And that the t-shirt printer might also want to, have other swag items they do, or they might want digital printing or just, whatever, you name it, or embroidery. So it makes it more difficult to get your website to rank. But I think as a sales, tool, I think your content on it's big. I think I'm a video guy, so having some informative content on there is really great. I think all of your external content you're using to drive to that website, like, if they've clicked, they're obviously interested. So whatever page they end up on, I think should have some more information that they can opt into to learn about if they want. Like if they want to scroll down and really read, they can. Maybe there's a bit more informative of a video they can click on there. But at the end of the day, there's a way to be contacted. So there's a form or, a way right there to immediately reach out if you want. I have a lot of people that use these little like text to chat bots and things like that. And they claim success with them. But one thing I do know is most of the third-party sites that offer that service, once it's installed, it will really slow down your website because they use a lot of JavaScript and stuff, and it makes it bulky. And at the end of the day, like you want your website to load as fast as possible. And so if you click that ad and go to it, and you have to sit there for 10 seconds to load this company's website, I think a lot of things go through your mind. Well, if they're not good enough to have like a fast loading website, they're probably not a legit company. I'm going to move off, or like maybe my phone's messed up. Forget about it. I'll do this some other time. And so that's really important, is making sure that landing page you're sending to, or that home page you're sending to, or that service page you're sending to loads extremely fast.
Yeah, under 2 seconds.
Mm-hmm. We shoot for under 1. We build with the plugin or the software we use, Elementor, and it's really stripped down code to where like you're not loading. The page builder is not extremely bulky and all those things. So it's still easy for our clients to update on the back end, but the website loads crazy fast as well.
Right. Okay. And so what do we need to convert to sales though? So is there plugins that we should be using? Is there's a strategy? I know a lot of people are big into using, different types of plugins, Sumo or Hotjar or whatever, to like really analyze their stuff.
Yeah.
Like Yoast, that kind of stuff. So what do you like using?
Well, we've used Yoast SEO. That's an SEO plugin tip primarily. I guess the difference with me is when most clients hit us up, they're wanting the website built and they're wanting us to make sure that they can populate, they show up in search. And then from there, we just try to advise on like content placement stuff. But like most of the e-commerce strategy and things like that, we really let their internal department deal with because they live in that world. And, I think I know it pretty well, but it's not something I deal with every single day. So when it comes to the actual sales strategy and like Hotjar, I do think is a great plugin. Being able to watch exactly how they interact with content on your page, I think is a great deal. If you're noticing every time they scroll down to this section, they're leaving, then obviously that section needs to go. And those are things that you can get with your web team to help figure out. And I think that whatever on your website is attracting the most people, if it's the About Us page, or if it's the Meet the Team, or if it's something else like a specific product, well, I would put that product front and center on your homepage, or I would have easy access from the moment it loads to where they can find whatever that object is, or that item you're selling, or that service you're selling immediately. So
right. So that's the above the fold section. That's where that thing should be. So nobody has to do anything. It's just bam, right there in the middle. Right
in your face, for sure. So that's and like I said, I mean, we're a web company, and obviously we have clients we work with on a marketing level, but I don't have too many with e-commerce that we like help maintain. So I don't know if I have the best answers and tips for actually generating right then like sales on like an e-commerce site, but we definitely have good results from just trying. Like for instance, we ran a checking account campaign for a bank last year. And it was all about this one specific account. We had a really nice digital campaign with some great ads, and we drove traffic back to that page. But before, they didn't have a contact form on that page, but we added it just for that one specifically. And they saw like a 28% increase in checking account signups through the website over the course of the 3 to 4 months we ran it.
All right. So the sign up form, was that just a link? Was that a pop up? There was a lot of people who hate the pop ups.
No, it wasn't a pop-up. It was like right there. It's like to sign up for account, reach out here. But before we were just using phone numbers and things like that. But we added that contact form. And I do think a contact form attracts somebody like my business partner, John, who hates talking on the phone. So I think having both options on your page when you get there is really important, because there are a lot of people like my age and younger that just do not want to talk to someone. They do want to, text the chat, or they want to fill out a form. So, and email back and forth. So I definitely think having both options nowadays is extremely important.
So do you see, the thing that I keep seeing a lot is the skinny banner, it goes all the way across, it's maybe 20 pixels high or so. Yeah. It's not that big. And it's got some text in it with a little button that just reminds you, hey, to do this thing. Are you seeing that more?
Yeah, I think that's easy. An easy way to do that. One of the ways, we call them pencil banners, and we have a version that you can click and it'll expand down like an offer. And so I think if you're running a sale and you really want to, got 50% off a certain brand of golf club or something this month, like throw that in that pencil banner with a click here. And when they do, the offer's there, and then click through and immediately get to the item. So I think that grabs attention. I don't like a ton of ads on a website personally. The way I try to typically do it is, say we just built a website for a radio station and they wanted like 16 ads in a carousel. So we did it as a 4-column and it rotates through with like a random load time and everything. But they're smaller boxes as opposed to these big wide banners that don't look good on mobile. Like everything's square now. So we try to live in that world more so than this long, narrow stuff. Because if you think about it on a smartphone, if your text goes all the way out to the edges on that pencil banner, by the time it scales down on mobile, it's going to be so small you can barely read it. So you've got to have a good mobile size for that. And most responsive sites, like it requires more coding to load different banner sizes as opposed to just having one that nicely scales down to all sizes. So we typically try to keep most of our ads square, and I just don't like to clutter up websites with them. But clients want what clients want sometimes. So, obviously at the end of the day, we're building a website for someone, and if they're stuck on something like that, we'll do what they need. So.
Okay, cool. All right. Don't forget, if you guys have some questions, let's get them in. All right. So let's wrap up here with the last target, which is human-to-human marketing strategies. I'm a big believer in this. It was about being authentic, being yourself, showing up in person, showing your personality. I'm kind of a goofball, so I just kind of do my own deal, right? So, what do you think about this? Because I know that you do a lot of stuff for all types of businesses. How do you feel that this whole idea is evolving with how people are marketing their businesses these days?
Well, as a general answer to that, there's several different things I guess I could say, but what I find works well for me and my company, because I've been an account manager. We're a small business. We wear many hats, right? And so I have probably 40 or 50 accounts I've handled for several years. And I guess what I've always done is if they call me, I answer the phone. If they need something, I try to be as accommodating as possible. I try my best to show them I care. And I know I give out a lot of extremely valuable information every single meeting. Like when I'm meeting with someone, I'm talking to them about strategies that work. I'm not making them pay for that up front, right? I guess I just don't nickel and dime people. And I try, at the end of the day, we say this, but we mean it. Like when I take on a client, I care about their success because I'm so passionate about what I do for my business. I don't like to put out anything that's just crap, right? Because our name's attached to it. And I feel like I take great pride in everything we put out. So I think our clients just know that we care, and I try, and people say that all the time, but it is the truth. We really do try to just bend over backwards and do everything we can to make sure it's successful for them. But at the same time, if I've sold a package that I went in and was like, oh, this is going to work, let's do this. And, 4 months in, it's just not working. We change it. It's not something where I'm going to make them stick to that contract for a year. We're going to, pivot and figure out something else that's going to work better for them. I just think a lot of times with companies out here where it's like, oh, they came in, they sold me on this thing, and then I haven't heard from them in 9 months and it didn't work. Well, so guess what? I didn't renew. We try to constantly stay in contact. And, that's why we've had clients that have consistently used us for over a decade, and they keep coming.
Right. Yeah. So one of the things I liked was the story that you told me about the plastic surgeon that was doing the filming, what he was doing and how that made an impact on his business. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, he is brilliant plastic surgeon, and we're in a smaller market, and so he set up shop here, and he's a Yale grad, and he wanted to document literally every second of his day, because at the end of the day, regardless of what you think about the industry, he's changing the narrative by telling people that thing you've been embarrassed about your entire life. Like you've just absolutely hated your nose, and every time you walk in a room, you're embarrassed by it and it bothers you. You shouldn't be ashamed that you want to change that. Like you should, when you do it, we should celebrate it. And so that's been his whole deal. He's saying, I don't care what people think about this industry. I'm changing that. And he's done it. I mean, he just was on an episode of The Doctors nationally, and they found him on YouTube, and they were just blown away by his personality and the way he cares about his clients. And you can't hide that. You know, when you're filming him all day, you see it, and it's genuine and it's true. So I think that, like, if you genuinely care, if you're genuinely a good person, you know, and you're good at what you do, that's just a, you know, perfect formula for success right there, you know? So for him, it's just been not, I mean, also he has an ability that's rare to like talk about what he's doing while he's doing it. Some people, you know, that's difficult for them. Like if I'm really thinking about a shot I'm getting, it's kind of hard to be like, right now I'm on this camera setting and I'm doing this, and this is why I'm doing this angle, but at the same time do like a really great job at what I'm doing. And he's excellent at that. I mean, he can be operating on a person and talking about what he's doing at the exact same time and not skip a beat. And so it's truly like remarkable to watch. And at the same time, like those surgeries and things that we film, I never really thought I would do anything like that, but it's been it's not a world I knew anything about. You know what I mean? And now a year into this, it's like, wow, you see the people like a year later and how happy they are and how happy he made them and how great they look now. And it's like, it's inspiring, you know? So that's for him. I think it's a brilliant marketing move to just, you know, if you follow him on Instagram, it's Salome Plastic Surgery. Every day they try to do 80 to 100 story posts. So when you get to him, you know, you're clicking for a while, you know what I mean? But it's like the entire day, and they constantly churn content. And that's his social team, which is multiple people. And then we just run the YouTube channel. So they take a lot of our content and repurpose it too. But he has so much content. And it's funny, he's attracting people who want their transformation documented. They want to be on camera with it. You know, they want to show it. So it's like he's found an audience out there that also is becoming clients for him and you know, revenue and all that. So it's
well, the reason I think this is relevant here is because he's showing up as a real person. So it's the human to human marketing. Yeah. You know, when you think plastic surgeon, you think this, you know, whatever your mental picture is of a surgeon, and he's defeating that mental image because he's showing up as himself. And that's the whole part. The whole reason I wanted you to tell that story was because, you know, so if you're watching this interview right now, so think about how you're showing up in your market and what you're doing. Are you completely invisible? Or are you front and center, right? Are you an interesting character? Or, you know, do you show up in the marketing? What are you doing? How does it generate? You know, what is, you know, just interest in your business, that type of thing. And I think as we look at how marketing is changing, you know, Seth Godin, who I like a lot, you know, he says the most human company, or maybe it's Mark Schaefer, the most human company wins. In fact, I think it is Mark Schaefer. You know, so it's one of these things where, you know, if you're the plastic corporate, nobody knows who you are, you know, you're not relevant, right? Because nobody wants to do business with that.
Yeah.
Right.
I do think there is, though, that fine line of people who are genuine and people who just say that they're genuine. And there's an episode of Silicon Valley, I love that show on HBO, where they're at like some app convention and every single company gets up and says, our app will truly change the world. And that's like the tagline for every single one of them, where a lot of the apps are just really stupid. You know what I mean? So like, that's the one thing I find that you see a lot of is it's just people that are trying to act like they're genuine and they're not. So for them, it's like, well, you know, you got to fake it till you make it, right? I guess. But it's like, it's great when you see people who are genuine and it works for them. And, you know, he's crushing it. I'm so happy for all his success and everything, but I just like people who are real. You know what I mean? I don't like BS. I don't like people you can tell are being fake and all that. And so,
right.
He's just not. And that's why he's awesome to work with. And I don't know if I could work with a client who was trying to act like they were genuine, but were actually an awful person. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, right. I don't know if I would, I don't think our company, it wouldn't be a good fit. So.
Well, good. That means you like me. So for people watching though, and they're trying to think about how I can how can I be more human in my marketing? What can I do? Do you recommend doing a day in the life, showing the process and that kind of stuff? How would you get started doing that and be open to it? Because it seems like you're exposing the dark secret, don't you think?
I definitely think just don't be afraid to put yourself out there. I promise whatever you're doing, there's somebody out there doing it probably just as well as you are somewhere else. So it's like, get over the whole, I got to hide this secret, right? And because, we have competitors that copy our video style all the time. We'll start doing a certain thing for clients, and then all of a sudden I see 2 or 3 different people doing the exact same videos, because when you do successful things, it works. But your clients are going to keep coming back to you because they like you. And if you care about them, you know what I mean? They're going to want to work with you. And so at the end of the day, to me, I think just recording yourself doing some different things, do some practice runs. Don't put those out if it bothers you too much, but work on it. Show your friends, say, what do you think I could do better? Watch yourself and then watch that other person that you're wishing you were, and see the difference and say, okay, they're using their hands more. I noticed their shot is outside primarily. They're not really going in this, cave of a garage and standing there with no light and it looks terrible. Pay attention to their surroundings, pay attention to how they're framing themselves. All those things matter, you know what I mean? And also pay attention to the music they're using and how are they doing little funny things? Are they, a friend of mine runs a gaming YouTube channel, and he likes to edit in little movie quotes, right? And if you're quick enough with them on YouTube, they won't flag it. So he might go to Ghostbusters for a second and have them say something stupid and then come back. Having some personality in your content's fun, and just be yourself. If you think people will like that self, I guess, if you will. So.
Right. So we have a great comment here. So Ron says, good stuff. Stay authentic, even if you are goofy. Hey, that's me. And by the way, Ron, he does a lot of posts all the time, and he shows his dog. He shows his customers. His big tagline is make it a good day. It's kind of a play on his name. And he does a really good job with that. So thanks, Ron.
Good job.
Appreciate that. So we've got a couple minutes left. So what's kind of, if somebody who hasn't done anything with video, and I think everybody kind of knows they need to do it, but they just can't do it. They just can't face it, right? Mm-hmm. What are some tips to get over that? Or how can I do video and not show myself, but show the process or show what's going on? Is it okay just to narrate things? Do I actually have to show my face?
I really don't think there are any rules to the type of content you create, because I think you're going to see as you're creating it what's the most successful for you. So if you feel like you're just terrible on camera, but you don't mind talking, have one of your employees build the break and you talk about it while he's doing it. Or I keep going back to that. I'm just using it as an example, but I think that you can show the process and not have to be on camera as long as they're seeing it being done. They're seeing the ratchet turning and all those different things, because I think at the end of the day, people are intrigued by how things are made, how they're created, how the T-shirt's printed, right? And they want to see that stuff. They might not want to watch every single step of it, but, throw in the highlights, the cool stuff. Hey, when the flame kicks on here and it, melts the pipe or whatever, and then we turn it into whatever, they want to watch that stuff on video because they like seeing fire or whatever. So I just think that you can get creative and you don't have to be in the video. There's other things you can do too, where if you don't even want to narrate it, you can just have text come on the screen explaining what's going on. It's at least something. But I think that not doing anything right is just not going to help you at all. So at least trying different things and not being afraid to put yourself out there, it's overwhelming. Even I talk all the time with clients. I do these type things a lot, but every single time I'm a little nervous before, even this one. I've known you forever, Marshall, but it's what are we going to talk about? Am I going to say something stupid? You just have to get past those nerves and get on there and talk. And, if you mess up, make a joke about it. It's funny. Sure.
Yeah, trust me, I'm going to say something stupid before you will. So anyway, there's something that I think a lot of us in our industry group did this last year. I went to the ClickFunnels event in Nashville, and one of the guys that was speaking, he was talking about doing a Facebook 30-day challenge where you get on Facebook, you do a Facebook Live every single day for 30 days straight.
Yep.
And I did that. The first one was that night from my hotel room, and I did one every day after that, just to get over, learning how to use a camera and learning how to talk and being, and just not caring. And once I got through that, it was really difficult. Okay. It really helped me, and it really kind of faced the fear a little bit. So I recommend everyone, if you're scared of doing videos, if you're scared of how you look or what, do something like that and commit to it. Mm-hmm. And you will come out the other end way stronger. So
I agree 100%. It doesn't have to be a massive budget video. If you have something people are interested in, I think like looking at your business and saying, what's cool about what we do? What's interesting about what we do? What would, my mom want to watch, but at the same time, somebody who wants to buy this product or service be interested in with it. That's what I look at with every client I work with every job I do. I try to walk in and say, what interests me about what they do? And I feel like our content is reflective of that. We've been told several times that we're really good at taking extremely boring subject matter or whatever and making an interesting video out of it. And so I think to do that, you have to look at what is interesting about this, and take that angle. So
yeah. So, here's the thing. You guys right now can do this exact show. Let's say you're a B2B business, right? You're interviewing your customers, right? You start with the Chamber of Commerce president, interview him just like I'm doing Austin, right? That's 45 minutes of content right there. And you don't really have to be an expert in what that guy does. I mean, I don't know all the magic secret tricks that Austin does. It's okay. So we ask a bunch of questions, and then at the end of the day, you've got some content that goes up on YouTube, it goes on your Facebook page, and then just keep scheduling people, have the thing at the same time every week, just like I do, right? It's not that difficult. And that allows everyone to know that, hey, there's a show, and just show up, and you can build your audience that way. So
also what you'll notice is too, every single time one of those different people come on, right? Like I noticed with our podcast, it's like we'll pick up a handful of subscribers from every single person. And it's because when they share it, that's an entirely new audience that you've never reached, or maybe you have, maybe you paid to reach, but you're not even having to pay to reach this time. You know what I mean? Like that we'll see it on Facebook or see it on Instagram, and they think, oh, what's that? And they go to it and they're like, oh, this is cool. He's talking about t-shirts all day. And this is interesting. I like graphic design. I'm going to follow this. And next thing you know, you've picked up another follower that may have nothing to do like with your industry at all, but it's still like somebody who's going to talk about you. And then if they ever in front of someone who maybe owns a print shop or works at one, they're going to be like, have you heard of that guy, that does it? He does this awesome show called For Progress. You guys should check it out. I just think the more you can spread the word about what you're doing and you do that organically by just having different people on that you're talking to.
Yeah, great. So, I have a new podcast that came out a couple months ago. I think the 8th episode, just came out on Wednesday. And I already have 2,500 listens to the podcast.
That's awesome.
And so it's going great. And, you just got to like push it out there and do stuff, right? And make time for it and schedule it and nurse it along. And, if you're doing a good job, people will listen to you. Oh, hey, Yost is here. So Austin Yosta lives in Sweden. So Premiere Rush was on my timetable today, new skill. I don't really know what Premiere Rush is.
I have not checked that out yet either. I'm sure that's something.
What is that?
New update. I will have to honestly Google it. So I have some team members that keep up with every single bit of that. But a lot of my job is like, what I've found with myself is like, I need to make a meteor blast or something in this video. Then I'll learn how to do it, or I'll learn a new piece of software. But I typically stick with my old faithfuls until I learn something new. But that's really cool. I'm definitely going to check that out. Yeah.
So, hey, if you want to find out about Austin, here is his website, Sublime Media Group. And if you've got a question for him, or maybe you want to hire the guy, because you'll take on new clients, right?
Hey, we're taking them on all the time. So
here's his email address. I'm sure he'd love to get a hold of you and help you out. So Anybody have any last minute questions? Get them in quick, because otherwise we're going to say goodbye. But so Austin, if you had one tip, last minute quick tip for somebody right now, what would you say?
Marshall, it pertains to you. How many listens would you have if you hadn't done that podcast?
0.
Exactly. So just do it. That's what I would say. Don't put yourself out there, try something different, step outside of your comfort zone a little bit. Like, let's all admit it. This year's been extremely weird. I mean, we've all had to step outside of our comfort zone.
What happened?
I don't want to say the word, but I'm just saying, like, think about how many times you've been put outside of your comfort zone this year. It's not that bad. Just keep rolling with it. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time today, Austin. You rock, dude. And don't sign off real quick. I'll just end the thing here. So thanks, everyone, and I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
See ya.